Right. The first big advantage of a DBMS is that it provides an abstract view, a summary view, if you're wondering what abstract would mean there. So it sort of gives you a summary of the data in such a manner that applications are independent from how the data is physically stored. So let's say you've got millions of your clients and everything like that, and you just want to show one client on your screen. A DBMS will be able to make you be able to do so, as opposed to us having recorded our information in a spreadsheet like this. It will be very difficult for us to really just specialize on one client at a time, because all of them will be listed on this particular spreadsheet. If there are hundreds of them, we will be getting up to hundreds of them like this. So I have to go through one by one or use some search functions to get to one client, and that may bring problems. I might already find a client by the name Evans, for example, and start editing them, only to realize, no, the one that I'm editing is not even this particular Evans, it's another Evans. From another place, and all that can actually give us more problems than we would care to have. So at the end of the day, a database management system can actually be able to summarize that information and make you be able to just enter a search, and get your results and so forth. If you are finding this a little bit complicated to picture in your mind, let's use a very practical example that you use almost every day if you are actively involved with social media. Let's think about Facebook for a second. If you if you look at Facebook, you'll see that it's actually a database management system. Of course, we'll call it a social media site. It has different definitions in your head about what it does. But when you really think about it, all in all, what it actually does, it just manages a database. What is that database? It's us. We signed up, we gave them our date of birth, our addresses, our friends, everything. So we literally just went there and say, here, Facebook, here's our private information, keep it. Then use it for us to enjoy, hopefully not abuse it, but there's been many allegations around that subject. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. So Facebook then takes that particular information and realize, okay, we're talking about this particular person. They are this particular years old. They go to this particular school. They are friends with these particular people. Facebook can then easily be able to give you suggestions over some people you could be friends with, to give you suggestions over what you could buy, to give you suggestions over what you would be interested in. Now, how is it able to do that? It's because Facebook is able to actually give you an abstract of information or a summary of information. Last time I checked Facebook, now it has more than 4 billion users. So imagine if whenever you go to Facebook, it will show you all those particular 4 billion users at once. I think it will be totally impractical, and you wouldn't be able to use Facebook. But the efficiency of Facebook comes from the fact that when you go there, it will show you what your friends did over the weekend, who has a birthday coming up, and everything. So it's actually giving you a summary of information that everyone on Facebook gave for free. Now, once you show what you like, for example, if you follow a certain celebrity, now you can be shown what they are doing, what they updated, where they are performing, and so forth. That's a summary of that particular artist. It's not everything about them, but it's just showing you what you will be interested in. That's why I'm telling you that's literally one advantage of a database. And in this example, we're actually using a database we use every day, we search every day. And that's actually Facebook in this particular example. So this is a database management system, which we then term a social media website, and we can have many definitions for it, because sometimes in life you'll find that things suit many different definitions. And today, I'm sure you just learned that we can actually call Facebook a database management system. And it's a database that contains information about nothing else but us. And that's what makes it very interesting. Now, another advantage of a database management system is it has got a techniques that leverage on I/O throughput. I/O is input and output throughput. What do you mean by that? It means that you can be able to interact with this particular system. Again, I'll give you the example of my database here. This could also be a database. This is literally a database. If you think about it, this is literally your names, your surnames, your ID numbers, and the weeks we've been working together and everything. This is actually a database, but it's not as interactive. Let's say I just wanted to isolate one student and say, I want to talk about this particular student. How old are they? What's their phone number? What's their address? My setup here wouldn't be that quick. I will really need to be reading all the lines and sometimes end up realizing after 10 minutes that the information I'm looking for is not even contained in this particular file. So that's a big disadvantage of the traditional way of storing information like mine here, but it works for us because this one's a small project with a small number of students. This wouldn't work if I was a lecturer at UNISA, for example, and I'm managing hundreds of students. I will literally need another system to help me do that. Anywho, continuing with our lesson. Well, from my example of Facebook being a database management system, you'll see that another thing that makes all these social media websites very interesting is the way they are interactive. And interactive means they are actually able to take information from us and give us response and take that response and so forth. Literally, it's almost like you're talking to someone, but you're talking to a system. And that system, that being able to use input and output is what makes it interesting. Now I can actually be able to search certain people, to say search only people in this area, search only people from the school, and so forth. And that is a big advantage. The other thing is that data integrity and security. Data integrity literally means that the data we're talking about is true and holds true to what it represents. For example, let's say I give you a form to fill, and then I say street address and then unit address. Let's say you stay in an apartment like I do. Then you confuse the two. You put unit address on the street address. It therefore means when I try to search, for example, on Google Maps to try to come and visit you, I will not be able to arrive there correctly because then your house number and your street number are different numbers, and that can cause a lot of confusion. And I might not even be able to guess that you actually interchanged the two. Another big example of a mistake that you could actually make is putting a wrong zip code. This could actually make parcels, if they're being sent to you, go totally into a wrong province or a wrong area, because when at the post office, the zip code is what is first used before they even look at your house address. So moment you put, for example, my zip code is 1709. Moment I put another zip code, let's say I just put 1700, I don't even know where that is. But at the post office, they don't have time to be looking at exactly which area you are in according to what's written on your address. I think no one even knows all those areas by head. So normally they just look first at the zip code, arrange their letters, their parcels according to the zip code. Once they are arranged according to the zip code, they are posted to the post office in that particular zip code. And then that's the one that will go door to door. Now imagine you wrote this wrong zip code on that particular parcel. It means no matter what the postman will do on that day, you will never find your address because it's totally in a wrong area. Instead of Soweto, your postman ends up in Tembisa. Totally different places. They might be close together, they might look similar, but they're totally different. So data integrity is very important to make sure that the information we put really represents what we mean, because sometimes we might put a number, but that number may not really be representing what that number we should put should represent. The number we should put maybe should be our date of birth, and we end up putting our date of filling the information. That can really end up with us experiencing a lot of problems. So that's it about data integrity. The next thing is data security. It's very easy for someone to just fire up my computer and see all this information about my students. Lucky for us, no one really needs this information, especially to bring harm to you, hopefully. So we can be rest assured that this information is safe. But let's say I was not really just your trainer. let's say I was actually your doctor. You wouldn't want someone to just easily come up and open information about you from your doctor, because probably you're discussing things which are very private to you and your health. Probably you wouldn't even want to discuss them with him, unless because right now he's the only one who can help you. Now, that information shouldn't then fall into wrong hands. A database management system can make sure that only people with passwords and only people with access to certain information can get access to it. Back to our Facebook example, you'll see that once you put in your password and your username, you are able to see your friends, you are able to see your posts, you are able to post on your behalf. But imagine the confusion that would happen if we were able to just post and then it posts and appears to everyone as if someone else posted. I could just sit here and start posting on behalf of the President of the Republic. That would really cause a lot of problems. The fact that these social media sites are able to separate between who posts where and how it is identified by the public is actually a big advantage of a database management system. The moment you put in your name and a password, you only have access to certain things which are yours. Other things, you do not have access to them. And that then is a big advantage. That's what we mean by security. So by a password, you only have certain rights. Those rights are limited only to you. Other people also might not be able to see things, especially if you mark them as private, or if you say, if you're not my friend, you shouldn't see this. All that is security, because you do not want every Tom, Dick, and Harry across the world seeing certain pictures of yours. Maybe some of the pictures you're getting drunk. It's not everyone's business that you get drunk over the weekend or every day for that matter. So that information, you might actually want it to be kept private. Let's say it's your Facebook, you might then just put settings to say only certain group of people can see this particular information, and that is security for you. Now, there is also data administration. Centralized administration enables experienced DBMS administrators to manage data, tune the DBMS in accordance to its usage, and minimize data redundancy. So when we have all our information in a database management system, we're actually able now to update it accordingly without facing many problems. If we were to use the traditional way, an Excel spreadsheet, updating a certain part of the information could be difficult. Just like the example I gave you earlier, once you go to a certain person and you say, this is Evans, you might find out there are 10 other Evanses in your database. How do you know which one exactly you're looking at? You have to go line by line and look at each one of those and really identify that this one is the one that I'm looking for. But with a database management system, you can actually just go to exactly the one that you're looking for. Why? Because you might just identify them using their ID. Normally, no one has an ID which is the same as another person. So once you enter that ID, only information about that particular person is then given to you, and you're able to edit it and so forth. Now you won't ever have a chance of being able to duplicate information, because I'm sure whenever you are signing up, even to Facebook, to YouTube, and so forth, you have found certain situations whereby they say that name is taken. What they're avoiding is what is called redundancy. Having a lot of accounts belonging to one person, that phone number is taken. Having a lot of phone numbers belonging to one person, meaning one person created an account, forgot a password, now came back, now is creating a new account with the same information all over again. Why not we just help you to recover your password and you retain your old account? Otherwise, we end up with tens. Imagine if 100 of us, each one of us forms 2 accounts. We now have 200 accounts, but the real accounts are 100. That could be misleading, and that could not end well with us and our clients. So it is very important for us to reduce what is called data redundancy, or repetition of data, which is unnecessary, because that will give us wrong impression. We'll be thinking we're catering for 100 people, yet for 200 people, yet we're just catering for 100 people. That wouldn't be nice, and that might actually make us waste a lot of resources thinking we've got a lot of people, yet we've got very few people. The next thing is concurrent access and crash recovery. This will be the last point that I'll actually explain. The rest you go through them. If you have a problem, you tell me. So a DBMS enables concurrent accesses to data. Thus, two concurrent actions will not influence each other. Further, the DBMS has built-in fault tolerance and fault isolation that prevent further propagation of eventual failures or erroneous data. What we mean by this is this. Once you are logged into a DBMS at one account, at one place, for example, on one computer, then you log in also on your phone. You are actually able to post your pictures from your phone and also do so from your computer. So that's what we mean. Concurrent actions can happen, but will not influence each other. So meaning your posts from your phone will still be posts and they'll still come on Facebook, and you will not even be able to differentiate whether they were posted from your phone or from your computer, which is a very big advantage because we always switch between a lot of devices as we go. So that's an advantage already. If I was actually to use my example of the Excel spreadsheet, I will need to be in front of my computer and put the names into the spreadsheet or edit the spreadsheet. But once I'm using a DBMS, for example, my social media site, I can actually log in from anywhere and be able to post and edit and do whatever I need to do with that particular site. And also, when you say fault tolerance, we mean if ever something goes wrong, a DBMS is also able sometimes to save, to recover, and so forth. Things that might not be the same for my Excel spreadsheet. Once something goes wrong, let's say I didn't save and electricity switched down, I might not be able to recover anything. I might actually have my file corrupted, but a DBMS will avoid all that. That's what we call fault tolerance. And also, once an error has happened, certain things are then given to the administrators. For example, if an error happens at Facebook or YouTube, certain information is sent without you even knowing to the engineers to say this is what happened. It's in an abnormality. Then they can actually start working on that so that it doesn't repeat itself over and over again. So I'll stop here over the advantages of DBMSs. There are many of them, as you can see. You can go through them at your own time. Any problems, do not hesitate to contact me.